Hello, it's Mr. Dad out here. We're here with Jess Oaks. We're going to be talking about Renee Yeargain. It's a case that is, 17 years old?
Ooh.
18? 22 years old. Yeah. It's a case that has struck Torrington, Wyoming for a long time. So without further ado, we're going to get into it. This is Jess Oaks. So let's talk a little bit how you met Renee.
I met Renee the spring of 2003, I believe. We both were, I guess, working in the back of the Little Moon Supper Club.
Okay.
Just had the opportunity to get to know her in between dinner rushes and, massive cleanups and stuff, working in the back of the kitchen.
Okay.
After the restaurant closed down, we would just see each other, walking on the streets. She stayed in town in Goshen County, so did I. The next thing I know is I see her missing picture on the front of the paper. So you guys didn't know each other before that, and then you just were casual acquaintances. Obviously, Torrington's a small town. Everybody knows that. It's 10,000 in the Goshen County. So it's pretty small. So everybody knows everything that's going on. So after you've seen that she had went missing, what was the next steps after that? I was really surprised because the date on the paper was actually the next year. Okay. So it wasn't like she went missing and automatically everybody's on the case, everybody's looking, there's missing, posters printed. It was, she's missing. Silence.
Right.
For well over a year. And at the time I was going through some difficult times in my personal life. And I'm just like, kind of keeping an eye out on the papers, kind of seeing if anybody's ever heard from her, and nothing. So in 2008, after my mom passed away, I really started sticking my nose to the ground and looking and asking questions and interviewing and digging. And that's about how I ended up here.
Right. And a lot of the information surrounding the case, as well as a lot of the missing persons cases, like Chance Engelbert, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense when it comes to these cases, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's like when you're starting to look into them, and you would think that when someone goes missing that you would want like everybody involved, like they want to help find this person.
Right.
But that doesn't seem to be the case when it comes to, Renee and Chance Engelbert, and I can't think of the other gal, Natasha, that just went missing here recently. It seems as if nobody wants to help. It's like they don't want to get involved.
I think that a lot of Renee's problem had to do with the fact that she didn't have a picture perfect life. Right. She wasn't the bank president's wife who went missing. And we all know that person would have received a lot more attention, would have, had a lot more care. It's because she had a colorful past, just like Natasha.
Yeah.
Chance was lucky enough to have a rally of people to go out. I've never had that here in Goshen County.
Right.
There's probably a handful of people who I know if I get into a predicament with Renee's situation, I can pick up the phone and call.
Right.
But everybody else in the county just looks at me and just shakes their head and looks the other direction when I try to tell them the story.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about what transpired when you first started getting into it, what you found when you first started looking into the case, like some of these inconsistencies that didn't make sense.
Because I started digging into things from a non-law enforcement perspective, and I years later after she disappeared, it was harder. I'm sure you can imagine. You have to track down more people. You have to, dig deeper. But there's a lot of inconsistencies in the reporting. And I do know that sometimes media does get things wrong because there's multiple articles where her fiance that she was seeing at the time went on this tangent about how she's a big girl. She can take care of herself.
Right.
I'm sorry. I put myself in that perspective. And if my fiance was to disappear only a few days before we were supposed to get married, I'd be looking for him.
Right. Exactly.
I wouldn't take his children and drop them off at DFS.
Right.
And call it a day.
And just leave it and just say, she's a big girl. She ran off and there's no need to even look for her.
Right.
That's kind of the way, from what I've read in different things and what I've heard, that's kind of what he did. He just got rid of the kids, said that she ran off, and there's no need to even look.
Yep. Got rid of her kids and her belongings. It wasn't just her children that he decided to take upon himself to displace. Right. It was everything of hers. Matter of fact, her mother is the one who reported her missing. Right. The dates are very inconsistent across all platforms, I've noticed. Sometimes you have August 9th, sometimes you have August 10th are the days that she was missing.
Right.
It's really hard to tell because the foster families of her children got her children right away.
Right.
The mother, when she came down from Douglas to report her daughter missing, she was told, I got rid of all of her things.
And for me, when, I used to be a private investigator, I still do it once in a while, but not as often as I used to. But looking at that, from that standpoint, from like a detective standpoint, I would be like, okay, she went missing. She just like took off, left her kids with, the boyfriend, and he just decides that he's going to get rid of them, not look for her, but he doesn't report that she left, doesn't tell anybody.
Yep.
The mom has to, that kind of really sends up red flags everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, and then let's talk a little bit about, would it be Meridian, the rest stop where they supposedly found her car?
So years later, I actually stumbled across this. The detective who found her vehicle happened to be just driving by off duty, happened to stop at the rest area with his family, noticed there was a vehicle parked there, went up to the vehicle, keys are in the ignition, windows are down, looks a little suspicious. Meriden is out there where it's desolate.
Yeah,
if you were to scream in the middle of the night, I don't know who would hear you.
Right.
So it does kind of make you wonder if she ended up at the rest area because that's where her car was.
Right.
But there's a lot of us who believe that she never made it to the rest area.
And there was, wasn't there like some of her, like her driver's license and stuff that were burned outside of the car?
See,
or is that not accurate information?
That's been the real tough thing to determine if it's who's telling the truth.
Right.
I've never seen the actual case file. The police department, of course, will not release
when
that.
it's an active investigation, and they'll keep it open forever because they don't want anybody to investigate.
Yep.
Is what the way that goes.
Yep. And so they won't let you see any of their stuff. And there have been numerous reports that there were things found in the back of the vehicle that looked like they had been set on fire.
Okay.
Now, when I spoke to the detective who was no longer in law enforcement, when he told me this stuff, but he told me that it looked like someone tried to set the vehicle on fire.
And
those were his exact words.
It went out like they were trying to torch the whole vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, because if there was, like, for instance, if she was in the back of the car, they could have got DNA or any of that kind of stuff. And so he was trying to get rid of it, obviously.
Yeah.
But in that instance, just that alone, if that were true, she obviously didn't run away.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
There's a movie called Into the Wild. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It was directed by Sean Penn. It's about a kid who wanted to go to Alaska. He wanted to leave his rich family. And in that movie, he torched his Social Security card, his driver's license, because he didn't want to be found. So to me, it seems like somebody's seen a movie and they were like, oh, well, this fits perfectly with how to get rid of her. I'll torch all of her stuff, makes it look like she don't want to be found.
Right.
Kind of just fits in line with that.
And I think that I would believe that theory if her driver's license and Social Security card were the items that were burnt.
Right.
I've been told by her mother that it was a photo album that was in the back of the car, which, if you remember correctly, Renee's house caught on fire a few months before she disappeared.
Yes.
And I had been told that it was stuff that she had salvaged from that house fire.
Okay. Could
have been. I don't know. Her wedding dress was also back there. Which is also interesting.
Was there some circumstances behind that fire too? If I remember hearing some stories about that.
There's some very interesting, I don't know if you can call them circumstances, but very, very interesting suspicions because a lot of people in the community won't talk about it.
Right.
I've tried to hunt down the fire marshal's report. I've tried to get all the information I can on that, and everyone just kind of seems to shrug.
Yeah, they don't want. It's like it literally sometimes with some of these cases, it just seems like they do not want them solved.
Yeah,
they do not.
That's why
they just want to keep it disclosed.
Yep.
And let's talk a little bit. I don't know a lot of people that are out there that know about this case. Probably do not know about this, but we'll talk a little bit about the Lyman Canal and what the cadaver dogs were suspicious of back when they first investigated this.
Absolutely. So Renee's case pretty much sat stagnant in the water for many, many, many years. And in 2000, I want to say it was 2018, I got a notification saying that there would be a group of search and rescue dogs combing the property. Okay. Several years later, I finally obtained a copy of the search warrant through our local courthouse because it's public record. Right. That gave all of that information, which was very cryptic. Right. One of the things that our investigators did is they went to the property of the boyfriend and they said, hey, we'd like to come search your stuff. Right. In a few days. Okay. So they gave him a weekend to do whatever he wanted.
Okay.
Ironically, the Sunday before the investigators were to come out with the dogs, the boyfriend's mother called in a controlled burn.
Right. And it
on the
was
property.
pretty close to the canal, like right in the area where...
There's a burn pit that actually sits not too far from the family home, so to speak, that I guess they would use and occasionally burn things in, like the majority of people in our community. But it was just very suspicious that they would want to and need to burn that before investigators show up.
With cadaver dogs, if they burned like a deer or a rabbit, that's going to obviously set their noses off. They're going to go... Well,
not with deers and rabbits. Deers and rabbits. They're trained to only hit on the smell that we emit.
Yeah.
However, the bad thing is about that, if you're driving along and you have to relieve yourself, they're going to hit where you urinate.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
So anything that comes out of our bodies, they hit on. I watched all of those dogs step over numerous animal bones. And it's great. They look at it, that's nice, and walk right over it.
Right.
They don't care at all.
Okay.
However, in that burn pit, there's a photo.
Okay.
And in that photo, you can see a woman's shoe sticking out of that burn pit.
Okay.
It was never searched.
Right.
The only thing that was searched was area around. And after the dogs hit, they called in a whole nother team. Right. So now you're up to, I believe it was 9 dogs that hit on this location.
Right.
And they called in the big excavator, dug holes. Right. And as soon as they would finish digging the hole would fill up with water because of the water table.
Right close to the canal.
Yep. And the dogs would hit on the water. The dogs were not hitting on the ground. They were hitting on the water. And our community, because of the expense of this,
decided to stop. Right.
Stopped the search, never came back.
Right.
Sealed it up.
And have not ever looked again. Nope. Now let's talk a little bit, again, I don't think a lot of people know about this, but the time now where we're getting closer, where the family has lost access to the rental. And now the owners are okay with people like us or detectives coming in and searching the property.
The owners are very suspicious just because of the way that the family has been towards the property itself as a whole. Right. They had a very difficult time getting the family to move out of the property. Right. It's been very interesting.
And doesn't the mother live like really close by, so they monitor that property still?
Not anymore. Actually, the boyfriend and his mother are supposed to be living in Morrill, Nebraska. He purchased a home in Morrill. Okay. And it's listed as his primary residence.
So now they're not watching the property.
However, he decided to move into his grandmother's property, which is right next to.
Okay. So he can still keep an eye on it. Okay. Yeah. So that I mean, like I said, it just screams red flags. Like there's a ton of things that make no sense. I mean, there should be a lot of people looking into this. There should be more questions answered. Like I said, with the Chance Engelbert case, I mean, when you look at that and you've got one side of the family hiring attorneys, fighting tooth and nail not to be involved, and the other side is fighting tooth and nail to find the guy, it's like something seems weird about that. Yeah. Like it seems like you would want to find them. Yes. And like Natasha, it doesn't matter what her past was. She's a missing person. She could be in danger. And for them to just say, we're not going to look into it because we know her past. And,
Natasha, hers is even a little bit more concerning, I think, because of the fact that she has a seizure disorder. Right. She's been now 2 years without her seizure meds. Yeah. That should tell somebody something. And when you call the local authorities in Lusk, because that's who handles Natasha's case, you are basically told, we had a sighting reported in Casper. Have you confirmed that? No, we have not. Right. I mean,
and there was a phone call, correct, too, that was supposedly proof of life that they said, quit looking for me?
I haven't heard that one. But I have the police officer who, I can't even remember what his name is, but I have our nice little recording from my time at the paper, interviewing him and listening to the way that he spoke to me. I ended up stopping him and saying, I'm sorry, sir, but enough's enough. Right. I don't know what your problem is, but enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the difficult questions.
It's like you're bothering them. Like,
yes.
Literally their job is to help protect us, find these situations, close these cases for real, not close them by setting them on a shelf and never open them again and not letting anybody else investigate. That's not how you do it. You gotta, I mean, if you need the community's help, let them help.
Well, and the sad thing, I'll take it back to Renee. The sad thing about that is because there's been so much time, there are only two people in our entire community who were in law enforcement at the time of Renee's disappearance who are still in law enforcement today.
Right.
And I don't understand why we can't work together.
Right. Well, it's just like the big thing between the sheriffs and the local police department. They don't want to work together. It seems like sometimes there's a lot of feuding between the two. It's like, we should be solving cases, not arguing with each other. You know what I mean?
Well, and I mean, here on a local level, I think that is something to I guess dig into.
Right.
But I'm more concerned about it on a state level.
Right. Absolutely.
Because Renee's case right now is currently in the hands of Wyoming DCI.
Right.
I don't understand why DCI doesn't want all of our departments to work together.
It seems
because
like
they don't.
They all should be in. Yeah, like you just because you're the top dog, DCI, DCI
has locked the case.
Right.
And so the sheriff's department cannot gain access to anything in Renee's case anymore. And our sheriff, Corey Fleener, is one of those individuals who was in law enforcement at the time of her disappearance. That would be one person I want on my side.
Right, exactly.
Because nobody else wants to step up.
Why would you lock a case when she's not been found and there's plenty of evidence to support foul play, and you're going to lock a case and keep it on the shelf in a cold case file forever and not let anybody ever solve it?
And I could probably say, hey, sure, lock it up, keep its integrity, but I better see you doing something.
Right. Keep investigating.
But locking it up to just sit on it?
Yeah, no. That's no good.
No, it doesn't help anybody.
No, I mean, it'll never get solved if they keep it there, because they will not let anybody investigate. They will not share notes. They won't let anybody see anything until it's completely closed. Then it can be reopened. But then if you were to solve it, it's going to make them look bad. And they don't want that. Mm-hmm. They never want that. If someone's
yet they won't take your how do I word this? Polite hints.
Right.
After I stumbled on that search warrant, there was a lot of information in there that I wasn't aware of.
Right.
And the first thing I did is call my informant through DCI, and I said, hey, this is the information I just found. Are you going to do something with this? Right. Nope. They sat on it for a year. I asked them to contact the last known person that Renee had spoken to. The number and name was on her cell phone. They had the right information, whole 9 yards. And I checked in with this individual frequently. Right. Hey, have you heard from them? Hey, have you heard from them? Nope. So, it wasn't until I completely lost my cool over the phone and said, you guys keep telling everybody that you want to work together and you're not doing anything. Right. You need to go interview this individual before they die. Right. Because then, it's absolutely crazy. And well, they did the next week. They finally interviewed him? Mm-hmm. Oh, they said they'd be back, but I'm not holding my breath. Right. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, when you think about these kind of things, that they're literally there. I mean, I think that, what is it, Wyo Find, they've gotten involved. They've shared some stuff about this. There's some other people that are around here. But I think we need some big people like the FBI to get involved, because that would not only get them on their feet and start investigating these cases, but also if there was small town corruption, it would be found out as well. Yeah. And, that's been a concern. Obviously, as you know, just living in the community, we've had so many different people switch in and out of law enforcement, especially through the PD. Right. I sat down with the current chief of police, who I happen to actually respect. Yes. And I said, listen, I realize that this case happened 20 years ago, but you are the one that can stand up and fix this. Right. You are the one that can stand up and do something about this. And I think he has the capability, knowing him and just knowing. He won't do anything. That's not good. No. And that's the thing. A lot of people have told me that the reason why her case hasn't been solved is because it's going to cost way too much money. Right. And how do you sit down and put a price tag on someone's life? That's what I was going to ask you. How you put a price tag on this family, especially because she had 4 beautiful kids. Right. She had 4 kids that were separated from their siblings, their families, their grandmothers, aunts, uncles, people that genuinely cared about Renee. Right. And her children were no longer allowed in her kids' lives. And that's That's really sad for those
Right.
kids. They
Not
grew up
only did-
thinking mom didn't want them and it was too much.
Yeah, that she abandoned them.
Yep.
That's what they're thinking.
Yep.
But, you know, there's too much evidence here to suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
That is not the case, and they have been lied to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, most of their lives.
Yes.
So, yeah, like I said, I wish that someone higher up, like even, you know, the cold case files or forensic files, or somebody out there that's watching that sees this would get involved in this, and money wouldn't be an option. You know.
Well, and a new thing that we just did, I'm not sure if you've seen this. We actually appeared on, it's going to be kind of a new show that a psychic has launched.
Oh.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm hit and miss with some of those individuals.
Right.
The woman that we have gone through, her name is Delissa Hawkins,
Okay.
and she absolutely wonderful soul. What she did is she took Renee's case and sent it out to all the people in her community of gifted individuals, whether that be tarot card readers, psychics, astrologers, all of those different people.
Okay.
And she said, "What do you think of this?" And it's just the basics.
Okay.
Just the basics. Nearly every one of those said, "She's in the water. She's in the irrigation canals."
Okay.
I mean, like the details that these people who didn't know anything about Renee's case,
Right.
nothing, all came back consensus.
Okay.
So with that information, we have decided we need some type of sonar to see underneath ground, some type
Right.
of radar.
Just with the canal there, they can do a thing. I don't know if you ever watched The Curse of Oak Island, but they can actually shove these plates down that stop the water,
Mhm.
and you can excavate that whole area, and it would stay dry the whole time you're excavating.
Yeah.
And I mean, it would cost some money, but obviously, I mean, then you could get down there, you could see what's really going on.
Right.
And whoever buried, or if that was the case, knew that the water would be a hindrance and it would cause a problem.
Yes. And from what they have told me, not to get graphic with this,
Right.
but that she was dismembered
Oh.
to make it easier to hide her
Right.
and dispose of her. They have all said that she is not in the water, so to speak. Now we are looking at needing some radar equipment to be able to see
Right.
what we can see.
Absolutely.
I don't know if anybody around has them. I know Wildfind has one of those. I don't know. I don't know where else to look, but I know
Right.
that nobody wants to.
Well, hopefully someone that sees this out there wants to get involved and maybe could, I don't know, put us in touch with some people who could, you know, get things done that we cannot get done, and
Yeah.
put money up that, you know, is needed in order to investigate this. I mean, if they're saying money is the biggest problem, let's see if we can get donations put together to, you know, investigate this case. I'll ask you, do you think she ran away?
Absolutely not.
Do you think she's in that canal or in the yard behind the house?
To me, I'm a very methodical person. I need to have facts,
Facts
not
and evidence.
feelings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And those dogs hitting on that property, that's all I need.
Right.
That's all I need to believe that she is there somewhere.
Right.
The dogs have searched the rest area.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. I feel that vehicle was planted there to, I guess, take everyone, hey, she ran away.
Right.
Here's a more believable story.
Absolutely.
Instead of she was kidnapped.
Right. Yeah. They just needed a cover story so that way it would look better on their part. But,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there's tons of red flags, and we didn't mention names besides Renee herself. But people can look into this. I mean, obviously, it's a case that's been going on for a long time. So they can look into this online. They can look up by her name,
Right.
in Goshen County.
And, you know, part of my, I guess, push for this is if you didn't do anything wrong,
Right.
why aren't you putting up posters? Why aren't you doing podcasts?
Right.
Why aren't you digging holes and finding? Because
Yes.
you know for a fact that says a lot.
That's the same question a lot of people ask with the whole Chance Engelbert thing is, you know, why did it just automatically stop?
Yep.
Like they knew that they weren't going to find anything, you know, that's a whole nother story. But you used to work for the Torrington Telegram, the newspaper that's in town here. And now you're doing a little something different.
I am.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
So I decided thankfully, so many people in this community have reached out to me and said, Jess, we're not done hearing your stories. We're not done listening to you yet. And I was asked to start my own independent form of journalism. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, that's a lot. I am not a very, technology scares me. If it's got a plug-in, I'm going to break it. So, you know, having, I guess, that vulnerability of doing it all on my own was scary.
Yeah.
However, I stumbled across a platform that I feel is going to provide that extra assistance that I need to help me be able to share the news and share my stories. And shoot, I can even have advertisements and classifieds and public notices and obituaries. It's the same as a paper. Right. Only it's online.
Yeah. A digital version.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the name of it?
So I decided that I wanted it something that I could hold close to my heart. And most people don't ever see me without a notebook. So we called it the Goshen County Notebook.
The Goshen County Notebook. And it's on Facebook and people can find it there.
It's on Facebook, and we're going to be launching our site here. I'm hoping August 1st. That's kind of my soft date to begin. But it's going to depend. I'm kind of still waiting on some insurance. I want to make sure I get some insurance and some good coverage, and need to get some more equipment because
cameras and all that. Yeah, it's difficult. Like this kind of stuff. Like I bought so much stuff for doing podcasts that just sits because I don't even know how to use it, and I end up using my phone. And as you can see, it's not the greatest backdrop in here, but you know, we get out there. I've got 144,000 people on YouTube that subscribe to my channel, so hopefully we can get this out in front of a lot of people and get your name out there and get all of this going. So awesome. I appreciate you coming in and you know, doing the podcast. Like I said, it answers a lot of questions because we see it about all the time. There's something that pops up on Facebook constantly talking about Renee Yeargain, and we do not know what's really going on with the case. Some of us do, some of us don't. So this was a big deal, and if anybody wants us to do a follow-up, are you open to that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, we can even cover some more in-depth of what Delissa Hawkins groups found. They're going to be releasing their, they basically spread that whole case out through a month. And so every Friday there's like a new video that'll come out regarding Renee. Some of them will be like the psychics and their interpretation. Last week was the astrologers and their interpretations, which was super interesting because two people, again, doing two different methods came up with the same. And that's concerning. But on the 31st, they're going to be releasing, I think they call it the reveal. Where they go through everything and then it becomes live on YouTube. So she's available through Substack, and so most of her stuff has been on Substack. Except for what I can share.
I have to try to look in there and see if I can find it. And,
it was really interesting and a really neat process. It's something that she wants to continue because, I mean, when you run out of hope asking every person, you kind of have to, I'll try this method, you know. Maybe they're wrong. But I would rather ask and go find out if they're wrong than to never ask.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you don't ask the questions, you're never going to find out. It'll just sit there forever.
Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. We've been talking with Jess Oaks, this is Mr. Dad podcast and We the Peasants podcast. We've got a bunch of different stuff going on, but it will be posted hopefully later tonight or tomorrow, and we'll go from there.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thank you much.
Thank you.